Welcome back to NYSE TV Live. Well, from Circle's IPO at the stock exchange to Bitcoin hitting an all-time high this year, investors are closely monitoring, of course, the latest developments in cryptocurrency as we see the stock market opening fractionally higher this morning and Bitcoin, yes, up 1.7% as we speak, above $106,000 a token. Well, joining me now with more is Zhou, CEO at Coins.ph. Wei, thank you so much for joining us from Singapore. It's great to have you on the show here. And what do you make of the recent surge that we've seen in Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think what we've seen is a significant interest in Bitcoin, not just from the traditional world, but actually I think a lot of it are from the emerging market world as well. I think for us, we operate the largest licensed exchange here in the Philippines. We're seeing, from the last sort of the cycle has mostly been retailers that are interested, but I think we're seeing actually local financial institutions in the emerging markets looking at Bitcoin as a long-term investment now.
I do want to talk about Circle because that company had a blockbuster debut here on the stock exchange the first week of June, triple-digit gain. The stock up, it looks like 12% in today's session. And I understand you recently collaborated with Circle. So what more can you tell us about that collaboration and the significance that it holds?
Yeah, so we're one of Circle's partner here in Southeast Asia. We're part of the Circle Global Payment Network, where we help to on-ramp and off-ramp users into USDC. And we help a lot of businesses, both from the US and Europe, when they send money to the emerging markets like the Philippines and Thailand, we help them to off-ramp USDC into the local markets. And we also help a lot of the trading firms here to trade with USDC on our exchanges. And what we've seen so far is that there's been a wide acceptance and wide usage of stablecoin in the emerging markets, especially in the cases for payments and for remittance. I think that bodes well, really, for not just for Circle, but I think for the stablecoin, industry as a whole.
Mm-hmm. And having been within prior leadership roles like at Binance and Grindr, what are some of the things that you're excited about now at Coins.ph?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think what we're really excited about, I think, as I mentioned before, is a lot of the traditional financial institutions. I think what we're seeing is that we've seen a shift in their attitude towards Bitcoin in the US, and a lot of that are carrying forward to the markets that we're serving here in Southeast Asia. And the second thing is actually much more so on the regulatory front. I think what you're seeing is that you're seeing much better regulatory clarity in the US with both the Market Infrastructure Bill and the Stable Genius Bill. And we're seeing similar efforts here in Southeast Asia from Thailand, from the Philippines, and from Singapore and from Hong Kong in terms of local regulators becoming providing much more clarity on operating within sort of the crypto industry here. And I think that bodes well because that will bring much more capital, bring a lot more capital, I think, into our industry.
Yeah. Now, with crypto adoption hitting mainstream and many anticipating that it will just continue to gain momentum, of course, in the years ahead, what are some of the utilities that you think offer decent opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I think the two of the things that we've seen here, I think one is on the payment front. We've been able to lower the cost of cross-border payments and cross-border remittance significantly with the use of stablecoins here in our markets, both in terms of availability, because now we can actually plug stablecoins into our existing remittance network. So we can basically tie a 24/7 crypto with 24/7 fiat. And at a cost that's like almost 100 basis points or 1% to 2% cheaper than sort of the previous rails that existed before. In addition to payments, I think the second thing that we're going to see a lot more in the emerging markets are actually the listing of tokenized stocks. I think what we've seen so far in the emerging markets, people were able to buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana before they can buy, Google, Tesla, or Apple. But I think with much more regulatory clarity, as I mentioned before, in the US, that we're going to see stocks coming on chain, and I think that's going to provide users in the emerging markets, which now has access to stablecoins, to be able to access, I think, US stocks on chain as well.
Zhou, he's the CEO at Coins.ph. Wei, thank you so much for joining from Singapore.
Thank you very much for having me.